Dear Diary, my name is Eva Rivera. Yesterday I received this diary for my 14th birthday. I feel I have reached the age where I am just beginning to understand the world around me. However, as a youth in my country, Spain, I have little control of the decisions the government makes. I come from a lower class family in the heart of Guernica. My father died 3 years ago from an unknown illness, and my mother struggled to support our family by working at a textile factory. I take care of my little brother and sell eggs around the city to bring in extra money. There has been much unrest in my country because of World War One. Although slow progress has been made and the war is long over, I can still sense tensions among my own country and the communities within. I, pl- I plan to record my findings and stories I hear as they occur. I will most likely not be able to record regularly as times are hard and I will need to provide for my family. Until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, for the longest time our country has been ruled by dictator Miguel Primo de Rivera. He was made dictator following World War I after leading a military coup in 1923. Primo de Rivera gained support of the people of Spain by promising to eliminate Spain's corruption. To do so, to do this, he suspended our constitution, began to impose strict censorship of the press, and established heavy martial law. He was only supposed to rule for a total of 90 days, but broke his promises and stayed in power. He did attempt to reduce unemployment, but achieved little social reform. Primo de Rivera taxed the rich more heavily than the poor to improve the economy, but he changed his policies when they complained and began to offer public loans to make up the money. This led to extreme inflation. The entire country is very unhappy with him. Yesterday he was forced to resign because the military stopped supporting him. I am uncertain about our country's future, but there is room for positive change. Meanwhile, my family is still poor and struggling. My mother's shifts at the factory have decreased to make room for more workers, and that leaves us with less money. My brother and I have been doing extra work around town to make money. I must go make dinner. We will have cabbage soup tonight. Until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, it's been a year since I last wrote and a few things have changed. Our new government is called the Second Spanish Republic. Just over a month ago, a man named Alfonso the 13th was forced into exile. This man was a strong supporter of a former dictator, Miguel Primo de Rivera. Alfonso the 13th was extremely autocratic, meaning he wanted to have sole power over Spain, but was forced to allow demo- democratic elections after the fall of Primo de Rivera. The Spanish people voted for a republic, and since Alfonso wanted to be the only ruler, he was advised to go into exile for his own safety. He left on April 14th. Since his exile, the Second Spanish Republic ended compulsory education in schools, permitted women the right to vote, and the Minister of War announced huge cuts in the size of our army. We will have to wait to see if these changes bring any good. I'll have to clean the house until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, I apologize for the 6-month period I did not write. My mother is very eager to vote since the reforms from last May. That the reduced army size has not yet affected us. However, something confusing has happened. Our Spanish parliament, the Cortes, has just announced that it is legal to divorce. However, the Catholic faith says that divorce is not right and a sin. Many of our citizens are also confused, although some don't mind and are pleased with this freedom. In addition to this new reform, the Prime Minister, Nicito Zamora, resigned, and we are told that our new Prime Minister is Manuel Azana. Azana was the previous Minister of War. I don't think Zamora will give up on his love of politics yet, and I am unsure what the future will hold with Azana as Prime Minister. Until I write again, Eva.
By the way, do you want me to get Hey, shh.
Dear Diary, 2 days ago we had an election. My mother, of course, was extremely happy that she could finally vote. I am so happy for her. Nikita Zamora won the election and became president. If you don't remember from my last entry, he was the former Prime Minister of Spain. He is now in control of the Second Spanish Republic. He seems like the kind of man who knows what he is doing, but I do not know much of him. I feel it was important to share this with you, but
I'm not
today
sure
I'd
if
like to
he's
talk
getting
about what is going on in my life. My mother managed to gain her old work hours back at the textile factory. My brother bought some extra chickens and is also selling eggs. He is now old enough to help out around the house. We are struggling less, but it is hard to get a decent meal every day. The citizens of Guernica seem to be hopeful that our new president will bring us peace and prosperity to us. I must end my writing now and deliver eggs with my brother. Until I write again, Ava.
I'm gonna go check the office desk where he is, because he's usually not have he's usually in
Dear
there.
Diary, almost a year has passed since I have last written. Rumor has it that a man named Jose Senhorho tried to lead a military uprising against the government just a few days ago. I believe it was in support of Azana's agrarian reform bill in Catalan Salute. To be honest, I don't know what that means, but it sounds serious. He was arrested and is being tried. I use any type of I personally believe he will be sentenced to death as the government has not taken well to any type of uprising. All I know of Sanjurjo is before this incident is that he was against Alfonso the 13th and was a supporter of the Second Spanish Republic. However, the president hadn't recognized this and he was demoted to the chief of custom guards. Perhaps he tried to rebel out of bitterness. The military rebellion had made the community anxious for what is to come. My mother has requested that my brother and I arrive home before dark in case of any other uprisings. Until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, my mother is right. There have been more uprisings. There has been a new uprising called an anarchist uprising. Anarchists are people that believe society should have no government, laws, or other authority. There have been countless of these uprisings in Saragossa, Madrid, and many other cities. There have also been a new type of political party formed called the Confederación Española de Derechas Autonomas. A man named Jose Maria Garobos recently formed this group made of the right-wing conservatives. they are they are opposed to the Republican government, specifically Manuel Azana. They currently have the most seats in the Cortes. I feel that if they gain more power over our government, perhaps the uprisings will cease because they do not believe in anarchist ways. There have been few anarchist protests in our town, and I hope they will soon cease so that we do not have to fear conflict. Until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, things are not much better since the last time I wrote, almost a year now. It's amazing that I'm 17 and so much has changed, yet so much has stayed the same. A man named Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera, son of Miguel Primo de Rivera, our former dictator, recently established a group called the Falange Española. The Falange Española disagrees with all socialists, Marxists, and Republican and capitalist ideas. It says that Spain should become a fascist state like Italy. Fascism is a state that emphasizes nationalism and the rights of people, yet willingly obeys all military values and never questions the decisions made by their leaders. In November, the right wing parties, or the Liberals, won the general election over the right wing. They upset the conservatives by releasing all their political prisoners and moving all the right wing leaders, such as Francisco Franco, to out of state positions. This move led to more uprisings in Catalonia and Aragon. The tensions between the two groups will be the end of our country. Until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, remember how I mentioned Jose Sanjuro attempting a military coup or uprising against the government? At that time, he was tried and sentenced to death. Later, his punishment was changed to life in prison. Just recently, he was sentenced to exile. Now, since the government is releasing all the left wing political prisoners, he is being granted amnesty or a pardon for his actions. The conservatives are very angry. The CEDA still has some power but are constantly being pushed out of important positions. I'm beginning to agree more and more with the conservatives. Mother predicts further uprising from the conservatives against the liberals. I have decided that I will do whatever I can to help the conservatives if this happens. Until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, I've missed writing. Life has been very hectic lately. My mother lost her job at the factory and now has to work as a housemaid for the upper class of Guernica. This puts more pressure on my brother and I to make money to get food on our table. We never had to steal, but sometimes end up eating leftovers from other families. 6 months ago, Manuel Azana was arrested. His political party was previously united with the Gallian autonomists and radical socialists. Later, there were violent arguments involving these groups in Barcelona and Asturias. Azana had been accused of encouraging these violent demonstrations and was arrested. He was put on a ship in Barcelona harbor to be put on trial, but no evidence was found against him, and he was released. Later, he was accused of supplying arms, and he defended himself against the angry Cortes in a 3-hour speech. Just 5 days ago, on April 6th, the Tribunal of Constitutional Guarantees released him of all charges. While his name may be cleared, I believe he's a terrible man. Until I write again, Ava.
Manuel Zana is causing more trouble than I thought he could. He is putting together liberal groups such as the Socialist Party, the Communist Party, and the Republican Union Party, and many more liberal groups. This alliance is called the Popular Front. The Popular Front is trying to oust all conservative groups. The sub-political parties have already angered the conservatives by replacing their positions with out-of-state ones, as I mentioned in a previous entry. In response to the rise of the Popular Front, many upper-class citizens are pulling large sums of capital out of the country, which is creating an economic crisis. The prices of all goods are rising, and so workers have been demanding higher wages. This is leading to many strikes of the Spanish workers. Alcala Zamora is no longer president because Manuel Zana has replaced him. There are rumors that the Spanish officers are planning to overthrow the Popular Front government. I hope that they succeed in their plans, but then again, I'm sick of all the corruption. Sometimes I wish I could just take a long siesta until everything is peaceful again. Until peace comes, Ava.
Dear Diary, I am overwhelmed. Since I've last written, it seemed that Spain has been turned upside down. The Cortes has granted an official pardon to all Spanish citizens charged with the tyranny and revolt against the government. Francisco Franco was relieved of office and was sent to the conservative islands. The Falange Española has been banned/closed down in Madrid. Francisco Franco has joined forces with other anti-popular front leaders and has made plans to overthrow the government. Shortly after the meeting, one of those leaders, Emilio Amola, was also relieved of command and was sent out of state. Shortly after that, the Popular Front completely banned the Falange Española in all of Spain. That same day, the Falange Española creator Jose Antonio Primo de Rivera was accused and arrested for trafficking illegal arms, and he was sentenced to 5 months in prison. Niceto de Zamora was forced to resign from presidency from the Second Spanish Republic, and more conservative leaders have met to discuss a military overthrow of the government. Conveniently, Manuel Azana has been recently elected president of the Second Spanish Republic. A man named Indolencio Prieto was offered the position of prime minister, refused, and just 2 days ago was assassinated. As you can see, Spain is suffering from severe corruption, and I feel that life will never return again. Until I write again, Ava.
Not only is Spain suffering politically, but the economy is taking uh, a huge toll on us lower class citizens. There is no work for me, although I am of age to have a permanent job. The Cortes has attempted to fix our economy by protecting all agricultural sites from eviction. I have heard that there are over 1 million Spanish workers on strike. Spain is now in a full-on civil war. Our Republican assault guards officer was assassinated by Phalangists. These are the people that support the Falange Espanola. One of the Phalangists, Jose Calvo Sotelo, was murdered in revenge of Costello's death. There have been many military uprisings throughout Spain, but definitely areas throughout Morocco. Just
A few weeks ago,
Jose Sanero was killed in a plane crash. Many Spaniards are extremely angry at Britain. The British Labour Party has announced its full support to the Popular Front government of Spain. Meanwhile, the Spanish Prime Minister has asked France for support. Conservative Emilio Mola created a group called the Committee of National Defense. The Conservatives have officially captured Granada. Many men are dying in violent outbreaks. My younger brother, though still young, has been fighting against the Popular Front government in the war. I couldn't be prouder. Until I write again, Ava.
Dear Diary, on the 26th, a man named Adolf Hitler gave military aid to Francisco Franco. I have heard that Adolf Hitler is a very strong leader in Germany. He seems to know what he is doing, but I have a bad feeling about him. He is a dictator, and maybe he has supported Franco because of Franco's autocratic views. Both sides have rallied troops from out of country to help them. Morocco is a protectorate of Spain. Germany has been sending aircraft carriers to Morocco to bring troops back to Spain. Italy has sent bomber planes to Morocco. France has announced its non-involvement in the entirety of the Spanish Civil War. I don't blame them. Life is rough here. When the war finally ends, I plan to find a Prince Charming and get married so I can finally have a family of my own and live happily ever after. In these dark times, my dreams are all I have to look forward to. Until I write again, Eva.
Dear Ava, my name is Antonio Rodriguez. I found your diary a while back after the bombing of Guernica. I can't imagine the horrors you lived through during the Red Terror. Countless Spanish citizens were brutally slaughtered due to our country's political struggles throughout the Civil War and the history before that. Francisco Franco allied with Adolf Hitler um, throughout the Civil War and Adolf Hitler, Germany. Francisco Franco allied with Adolf Hitler was
Throughout the Civil War and the history before that, Francisco Franco allied with Germany's best equipped aircraft bombers to attack your city. It is estimated that over 10,000 pounds of bombers and artillery rained on Guernica for over 3 hours. Everyone who tried to run was shot down by fighter planes.
The city was emblazoned. As I walked through the rubble of your city, I wandered into your little cottage. Your desk was smashed and blood-stained, but the diary lay with the pen by its side. I would like you to know that your legacy will never be forgotten. You represent all the innocent people of Spain who died because of the government's brutality. I have never met you before, but you inspire me, and I would like to think that I could have been the Prince Charming you dreamt about. Farewell, Ava, Antonio. No, go. No, wrong way. Wrong way.
Last one.
Okay.
Antonio Rodriguez buried Ava Rivera's diary in respect of her legacy. He buried it in her village on April 1st, 1939, the day the Spanish Civil War ended. He fought in World War II against the Nazis to avenge the city of Guernica and Ava.
I'm done.
Did they see it?
Yeah.
Okay.